We simulate the 2025 Big 12 season next on the College Huddle. And joining me this evening for this amazing exercise, the simulation of sorts, is Cal from the CGA Tour and Roger from the Night and Ones podcast, two of our Big 12 podcast here at the College Huddle. Gentlemen, welcome into tonight's exciting exercise. We did this a week ago. We did this a week ago with the SEC, and we had some very interesting results. Alabama is going to be your 2025 SEC champion, and they're going to beat Ole Miss in the SEC championship, according to how that simulation went down. So we made a bunch of people mad the first time. I fully expect we will do the same tonight in Big 12 country. But here's how this is going to go down, everybody. But before we do that, I'm going to let Cal introduce himself to everybody. Cal, where they can find your podcast, my friend.
So, I'm such a golf fan, I just took one letter and switched it out for the CGA Tour, the Calvin Glenn Alexander Tour. Name change incoming here, start of August, for more Oklahoma State-centered stuff. But, yeah, I'm at the CGA Tour on all streaming social media, everywhere you look, TikTok, all over the place.
Excellent. Roger, tell everybody where they can find the Nighted Ones podcast.
All right. You can find us on the Nighted Ones on YouTube. You can find us on X. You can find us on Instagram. You can find it everywhere. And the one thing that I'm going to suggest for you, Cal, is it's got to be either the masked mullet or the mic'd mullet or mullet mic night or something like that, because in honor of your head coach. I'm just saying. Well,
if Gundy stayed more than a couple more seasons, then he'd be like planning out decades. So then we have a whole name rebrand again. So I'm with you. I would love to say I'm your man, I'm 40 podcast, but you know what? I think we might have to switch it up because I've been doing this now since 2018, so we might have to change. We're trying not to change the name every year. So
I'm kind of digging the mullet cast.
Mullet cast?
Yeah.
You know, the Orange Power mullet cast? I don't know. Maybe we got something going. Got some ideas.
All right, so how this is going to go down, everybody, we have a tournament bracket. It is a 16-team Big 12 tournament bracket. The seeding was based off of the last year's regular season results in the conference. That is how the seeding takes place. However, this isn't last year's teams. This is this year's upcoming teams. We are projecting how these games will go down in 2025 with this year's teams, but we had to find some way to seed everybody, and no one's going to agree on where the seeding should be. So we just went with how last year's results went, and that's how we seeded everybody. But again, I want you all to keep in mind as we start this exercise, this is based off of this year's projections, how Cal, Roger, and if need be, myself, project how these games would go down based off of these teams this year. That being said, when we go down every single game, I will give Cal and Roger the opportunity to pick the winner. They will give a reason why they believe their pick will win this football game. If they disagree, I will then be the deciding factor. I will break the tie, but if they both agree, then I don't have to say anything. I don't have to be the bad guy in the situation. So that being said, gentlemen, are you ready?
Yes, but Eric, you do realize that being that this is the Big 12, the results won't matter. The top 8 teams from the year prior, the bottom teams for this year. So it's the Big 12. Whatever we say doesn't matter, but we're going to pick them anyway.
Exactly, and that's what makes the Big 12 fun, in my opinion. Someone asked me, "What is the Big 12 football like?" I go, "Have you ever been to the county fair and watched the demolition derby?" That is the Big 12, man. It is whatever team is hanging on by a thread at the end of this thing, they're going to come out alive. That's the way the Big 12 is like in my mind. From week to week, you just never know what you're going to get. It's wild, and I love it. I love it. Absolutely. So That being said, let's go ahead and we will share my screen. This is the bracket, everybody, that you are staring at. We're going to go ahead and hit the start tournament button. And we are off and running tonight with the first game being Arizona State, the number 1 seed, the Big 12 team, one of the Big 12 teams that went to the college football playoff last year. And they are taking on, well, Cal, it is your team, my friend. It's the Mullet Warriors themselves, Oklahoma State Cowboys, and game number 1. Cal, since you are on my left at the top there, and this is your team, I will let you pick the winner first. Oklahoma State, Arizona State, 2025. And one more thing. All of these games are played on a neutral field. So no home field advantage here for anybody. Neutral field games. Who wins? Cal, Arizona State, Oklahoma State, pick a winner.
Well, I couldn't make this really sweet, but instead I'm just going to let you know, we are in rebuilding mode. So I got to throw on the hard hat because at this point here, this is definitely just a whole deal at the end of the day. We have one quarterback on the roster who's taking college football snaps, and he's got 15 or 16 carries under his belt and 0 pass attempts. So I'm going to pick Arizona State, not to shock anyone here. In list of all the Big 12 quarterbacks that are returning, we've got no one who's thrown a pass attempt on our roster. So you know what? 1 seed, Sam Leavitt, Arizona State. Even if it was in Boone Pickens Stadium, I'd still have to pick ASU because they thumped us last year too at home on our homecoming. So, anything can happen. Roger said it better than I could. The Big 12 is basically, hey, bartender, pour me a shot, don't know what you're getting kind of conference. But you know what? I got to say, unfortunately, I think Oklahoma State can knock off a couple teams here, but our seeding does not help us out in any way. Going 0-9 conference last year does not help us out. I had to pick ASU, unfortunately. I just don't see it from the Cowboys upsetting the number 1 overall seed.
All right, so for me, I'm not sure that Cal and the Mullet Warriors can beat UCF at home this year. The last time they showed up, it didn't work out too well. So I'm going to go with Arizona State this year as well. Arizona State returns actually has the most returning talent outside of Cam Skattebo in the entire Big 12. So considering how well they did last year, they had a solid defense, they had a solid line. They have a pretty good receiver that they're bringing back this year as well. I'm going to go with Arizona State as well.
All right, Arizona State moves on 2 votes to 0 to start off this tournament. We are off and running, and now the game. This is always my favorite game in any tournament. It's 8, it's 9. To me, it's the most equal teams in any tournament. So these are 2 interesting football teams to pit up against one another and to start off this tournament here. Number 9 seed West Virginia, number 8 seed Kansas State, 2 of the more fun podcasts that I've been able to work with as well here at the College Huddle. West Virginia, one of the newer podcasts to join, and of course K-State's they've got the old crazy eyes over there at their mascot that they like to boast of, in Cocaine Willie.
Cocaine Willie.
What do you think, Roger? You get to go first here, man. It's the Mountaineers. It's the Wildcats. Who's going to win this one on a neutral field?
Okay, so I'm going to go with K-State on this one. Rich Rod makes his triumphant return to the former Skullet Warriors. So we had the Mullet Warriors earlier. These were the Skullet Warriors with a certain coach that moved on, Dana Holgerson, to Houston and then preemptively got kicked out. But Rich Rod has got so West Virginia last year did really, really well by playing really, really solid defense, right? So this year, we don't know what we're going to get with Rich Rod. He's been, back in college football for a little while, but he's back home at West Virginia. So I think that it's a good thing, kind of similar situation as UCF, and we do play them this year. So that'll be interesting. The return of 2 championship level coaches coming back to their former teams. But I don't know if Purdue will be ready for K-State in this game. So I'm picking K-State with this one.
Yeah, I'll make it easy on anyone. I mean, it's got to be K-State, right? They've got Avery Johnson, who's a great quarterback some days, a good quarterback some days, but he's not a horrible quarterback any day of the week. And you've got a whole new system Rich Rod's coming in with West Virginia. West Virginia did I mean, decent in the transfer portal, but nothing like Texas Tech or any other team in the Big 12 that's just really going to set the new standard. So, yeah, Casey here, Avery Johnson, Cocaine Willie, and the boys can tell Jordan and Country Roads webcast that they're taking the win there.
Listen,
All right.
spending $51 million in NIL money in the Big 12 like Texas Tech is. So that's why Texas Tech did so well.
We'll get to it.
All right, guys, there we go. K-State, 2 votes. West Virginia, none. K-State's moving on. All right, we got number 5, Baylor, number 12, Houston, a couple Texas schools. Back to you, Cal, here. Who you picking and why?
Even though Houston has Connor Wegman transferring in, who was a 5-star, it still doesn't mean that much to me against Sawyer Robertson and Baylor. Both these schools played Oklahoma State not too long ago. Houston, we didn't play last year. Maybe that would have been our only Big 12 win, but unfortunately, we didn't play them last year. So we did play Baylor. They beat us by 10. I'm a Dave Aranda guy at the end of the day, and Baylor's done great with him, so I'm picking Baylor. I just don't see an upset here happening for a new 5-star quarterback transferring in Houston, and I mean, yeah, just got to pick Baylor at the end of the day. Dave Aranda on defense, Sir Robertson on the offense. I think Baylor's going to be pretty good offensively, too, this year.
Yeah, for me, I'm also going to go with Baylor, and here's my reason why. I do think that Houston was one of those years last year where their defense was there, their offense was not. Their offense was offensive, for lack of a better term, right? So, but they had great defense, and because of that, they were in a lot of close games, and they lost the games that they did lose. Most of them were close. So they're turning the corner, and their head coach, Willie Fritz, is someone who's been successful everywhere he's been. He's an old school football coach, and really, really good about the fundamentals, right? So I think that they will be a force to be reckoned with. I just think their offense isn't where it needs to be. Their defense will be strong again this year. So if Baylor will keep it close. That being said, Baylor's defense was pretty good, and now that their head coach has taken over head coaching duties and is really coaching Baylor again and not giving it to the coordinators, I do have a lot of a lot of faith that they're going to be able to do really well in the league this year. The big thing that's going to be questionable is how well their offense does. If their offense plays up to its potential, they're returning 70% of their players from last year. I think they are poised to be a breakout year and have a breakout year. And some people are actually picking them to be number 1 contenders for the conference this year. So I do think Baylor takes this one, but Houston, give them a season or two, and I think they're going to be right into the thick of things.
Very well. Baylor it is, 2 votes to 0.
Why do we agree on it? Cal, we usually fight on these things. What's going on right now?
We're getting to it for sure. I'm no doubt about it. We're getting to it, I guess.
I hope so. Number 13, Utah. Number 4, Colorado. This one could be interesting, Roger.
I have no idea how to call this one, man. Utah is like, here's the thing about Utah, right? Last year, they did not have a quarterback after their other quarterback, who was an octogenarian, traded in his hover around for crutches in like the 3rd game of the season. So I don't know what they're going to do this year. They're always solid. They have a solid defense, usually have a solid running game. Colorado, I don't know if Coach Prime, it'll be interesting because the assets that he brought with him from Jacksonville that were running, or Jack State that were running his offense before, are no longer there. So now we're having to see, can he implement his system with new people, not folks that have been around him forever, that have been in the system for 2 or 3 years, and can that offense fly? I actually am going to pick Utah in this one, just simply because I think defensively, I think they're going to be better. I think that they're fundamentally sound. Their coaching staff always has them set up fundamentally sound. They've got good lines. And I'm going to pick the upset here, and I'm going to go with Utah versus Colorado.
Man, I could not disagree more on that take, just because I think Colorado
We teed that up perfect, didn't we?
Yeah, we did for sure. I said we're getting to it. I knew it was coming here. Colorado, they have a pretty good transfer portal class here, and that's what broke the tie for me, at least on this. This is a little bit more of a 50-50, who knows, neutral site game where I would pick probably the home team at the end of the day, especially if it's in Utah. But in Colorado, I think I'd pick the home team. But since the neutral site, Colorado's winning out for me just because they went out in the kind of the 50-50 matchup here due to the transfer portal class they brought in. Caden Slater here, he started a bunch of games in college football. His overall record in college football is 23-9. They've got Devin Dampier, who could not be more different than Utah's Cam Rising of the last year. I mean, you've got Dampier, who can definitely run the ball, ran it for over 1,000 yards last year with the Lobos in New Mexico. But I just think at the end of the day, this Colorado team is a little bit more talented than the Utah team overall. And the Utah team, they rely a lot upon their defense to make plays, make stops, and I just cannot remember how many times last year I just would see Colorado just pull something out of their butt that just seemed like it shouldn't have happened. I mean, just hey, something happened. It was crazy. Now, sometimes it was Travis Hunter, sometimes it was Shedeur Sanders, and of course I know neither are there anymore. But it seems like to me that could just be kind of the Deion Sanders prime magic going on as well. So when it comes to all that, I'm saying I think Colorado would edge out Utah. But granted, if this was not a neutral site game, you might be able to sway me a different way.
Yeah, I think to add on to that, Cal, I think it would depend on when in the season this happened. Right?
Very true as well. Utah had every injury in the book last year. There's a lot of me that wants to go, well, Utah last year was supposed to win the conference, and Oklahoma State was supposed to win the conference, and look how each team ended up. Oklahoma State got injured a little bit and really fell off a cliff. Utah just got injured every single week. It was just every single guy just got injured. So, yeah, it was tough for Utah last year. And if they were injured again, who knows? But I feel like Colorado this year would be able to pull it out.
I think you're saying they'll out talent them, even though they're bringing back 50% of their productivity from last year, whereas Utah is bringing back 75% of its offensive productivity and 56% of its defensive productivity. So it'll be really interesting to see if Coach Prime can coach a team that he hasn't been with and isn't relying on the talent that was, some say Travis Hunter was generational talent. It was like a junior Coach Prime, right? Because he played both sides of the line as well. So it'll be interesting to see if he can coach and implement a system, because you're right. A lot of that rabbit out of the hat stuff was just people one-on-one out talenting others. It wasn't scheme. It wasn't coaching, in my opinion. It was someone scrambling around in the back field, throwing up the ball, and Travis Hunter coming down with it. So it'll be really, really interesting to see what happens this year.
Which means I get to say something. All right. I agree with you, Cal, in the sense that if this game was played in Utah, Utah wins. If this game was played in Colorado, I probably lean Colorado. And since this is going to be on a neutral field, I'm going to lean to who I believe will out-coach the other staff, which means I'm going to pick Utah here and Kyle Whittingham to win this game. I believe he is a very good coach. I believe he will get the squeeze out of this roster this year. I do look for Utah to make a jump back in week 1 against UCLA. That is a huge game for both those teams, mind you. If UCLA is going to return to get in year number 2 for Deshaun Foster in the Big Ten, if they're going to make a move, they need to make a statement in week 1. Same thing for Utah. I think they need to make a statement and we want to beat UCLA to show everybody they're back. But in this scenario, in this simulation between Colorado and Utah on a neutral field, I'm leaning with the guy who I think can out-coach the other one right now and give me Whittingham. Does that make sense with you guys? You guys think I'm off my rocker?
No, you're agreeing with me, so clearly you're not off your rocker. I mean, come on.
and I think it's pretty much a toss-up at the end of the day, so I'm fine with that. I just do want to say, Devin Dampier here with Utah, transferring in from the Lobos in New Mexico, not the greatest competition in the entire world, so I'm curious to see how he'll do with Utah there. Just he's leveling up quite a bit by going from nothing to Power 4, so we'll see how he does.
Well said. All right, moving on. Number 3, Iowa State. Number 14, Arizona. Cal, you get to lead off here.
Matt Campbell, Rocco Becht returning for Iowa State. I get Arizona's got the same deal. They've got Noah Fafita, and they've also got their head coach returning as well too. But you know what? ISU, and let's move on. Next question. This is an easy one for me. I don't know how Noah Fafita, Arizona won a couple of games they won last year. They lost their top 10 overall draft pick and Tedero McMillan. I mean, Arizona to me is a flash in the pan. They had a good year right before they joined the Big 12. Then they joined the Big 12. It all falls apart. And I'm not saying that's because the Big 12 is insanely great comparatively, but I do think they all of a sudden have to face competition every single week. And Arizona is one of the teams that I think Oklahoma State will compete against this year real closely. And I don't think a lot of great things about Oklahoma State this year either. So that's not saying a lot for Arizona. I just pick an ISU at the end of the day. Matt Campbell, Rocco Becht, they got off to a bad start in the Big 12 championship game last year. That maybe left a bad taste in everyone's mouth, but this is easy for me. You take the perennial starter quarterback. You take a coach who's been there for forever at the same institution that's had just coming off of Big 12 championship contending year in Iowa State, and you move on.
Yeah, for me, I mean, Arizona has the ability to produce a lot of offense, but they're one dimensional. Until they can go offensively from just passing the ball deep down the field and doing some other things, they're not going to win a lot of games in the Big 12. Especially last year, people always think, the high flying offenses, the spread offenses, and stuff in the Big 12. Last year was Cal and I talked about it on the Big 12 huddle. Last year was about the running game, and the last couple of years really has been about defenses and the running game. So unless Arizona shows me that they're not a one-trick pony offensively, they're not going to win a lot of games, and I take Iowa State 100%.
Okay, Cyclones move on. Not surprised about that one. And let's talk number 11, Cincinnati. Number 6, TCU. Roger.
Well, what do I say about number 6 TCU? So I've been calling, since we joined the Big 12, right before it, TCU had that playoff run, that deep playoff run, right? And then after that, they kind of fell off of a cliff. And I was calling, they returned most of their roster, and I expected them to be really, really good. Last year, we beat them in one of those Big 12 games, right? And what I saw out of TCU last year was a team that had not locked in. Now, they got better as the season wore on, right? So I'm expecting more out of TCU. I'm expecting less out of Cincinnati this year. Their roster, the additions that they had out of Cincinnati, and this has nothing to do with Cincinnati versus UCF or anything like that, Bear Kitten fans. But I will say that I do think in this case TCU wins this game. I just don't see enough from Cincinnati's roster changes and who they've acquired to make them make a difference. They were decent last year, and I don't have a whole lot of faith in their head coach. He was at Louisville before, didn't do well there. He seems like one of those guys that just hangs on, and I don't believe Cincinnati does as well. They might get 5 or 6 wins this year. It may surprise me. I'm guessing 5 or 6 wins this year, but I think TCU, with what they return, would take this game.
All right, I guess we're agreeing on another one here. We'll see how long this goes on for, because I'm taking TCU. Both starting quarterbacks here have started the same amount of games. Both started 23 overall games in college football. Josh Hoover, though, he's the one who's turning down a 7-figure deal to go play at Tennessee, and he's the one who's got a winning record. He's the one who's 11-8 compared to 13. So at the end of the day, Brendan Sorsby is, I think, a fine quarterback for Cincinnati. I understand why he's the starter there over the other talent they have on the roster, but yeah, I mean, this one to me is pretty much a slam dunk move. Sonny Dykes and TCU Horned Frogs, as much as it kind of kills me to say it, they're going to contend for a Big 12 this year. They'll be one of the teams that's in the top half, I would say. The Big 12 is all basically contending within each other, kind of. But that being said, it's TCU, it's Sonny Dykes, it's Josh Hoover. It's pretty easy in my book.
All right, Horned Frogs 2. Bearcats nothing.
Bear Kittens.
Bear Kittens. I am in Ohio here, so I have to be careful.
I fly into Kentucky to visit my folks in Cincinnati all the time, and I'm still calling it that.
Hang out with them Zay fans. All right, number 7, Texas Tech and all that oil money. Number 10, Kansas Jayhawks. Ooh, this is kind of interesting. What do you think on this one, Cal?
I don't get the hype around Jalen Daniels. That's what I would tell everyone. Jalen Daniels,
Okay.
KU, what's the hype about? I mean, is KU going to go to the promised land? Is Lance Leipold going to just take them over the hump? Are they going to? It just seems like maybe they've got a brand new stadium and they're going to be incredible. But at the end of the day, Joey McGuire's needed the Jimmy and Joes, and he's finally got them. He's finally got all of the guys he could need. So Texas Tech here, if they don't contend for the Big 12, if they're not one of the top 3 teams in the Big 12 at the end of the season, really, if they don't make it down to Arlington for the championship game, that would be a shocker to me because they've got all the recruiting classes you could ever want. They've got the $50+ million transfer portal class. They've bought their whole class. They've got a billionaire funding the whole NIL program for them for Texas Tech. So Joey McGuire, he finally got his Jimmys and Joes. They should be killing it. They're number 1 overall transfer portal rating amongst many different sites. I know on.com is the one I'm referencing here. And Texas Tech's got to take this one easily. I mean, they come back with the quarterback of Bear Morton, who, he started 24 games. He's got a winning record in all of them. Tech usually falls short at the very end, but this is a one-off game. It's a neutral site. I'm taking Tech easily. This is one of those games where it could be a trap game for Tech during the schedule, during the season. I could see, they're going to KU, and they're a little dinged up. They had just played against, Baylor in the Butt Bowl or something like that. But yeah, at the end of the day, I'm taking Tech here. I mean, it could slot in a different way during the Big 12 season, but in this format here, it's Tech slam dunk, and door shut.
All right, so I'm going to agree with you too, Cal. Let the tortillas fly, Tortilla Tech. I'm going to agree with you. I think Kansas actually, I don't think Texas Tech would run away from this game. Kansas actually was dealing with a lot of injuries in the prior year. They did much, much better as well. I do like Jalen Daniels' game. I like the fact that he's mobile if he stays healthy, but he hasn't been able to stay healthy. And that's been the big thing that's hurt Kansas all along. Lance Leopold needs Kansas to do well this year because he got dragged through the mud, partly because of what his wife said, partly because of the performance on the field last season. So I think Kansas comes out with something to prove. I think defensively they've actually upped. Went from S&P 75 to rank number 29. Their offense stayed around the same 32, 31. And so by the numbers, they've got a better offense and the same defense. So I think this game is actually closer than what you would expect. But players like, I think the difference is players like Lee Hunter that transferred from UCF on the defensive line really going to make the difference for Tech because the last few years they've had good defense. Offensively, they've just fell short.
Beautiful. It is letting the tortillas fly. I like that. 2-0. Number 15, UCF. Number 2, Baylor. And Roger, this is your team, buddy. We're going to let you lead off here.
BYU.
Are we playing Baylor or BYU?
I'm sorry, BYU. Did I say Baylor? BYU.
All good, man. So BYU. I don't look. UCF. We don't know what we're going to get. We've got 68 new players on this roster this year. I do think we're starting the season in a better QB situation than we did last year. KJ Jefferson spent more time at the Waffle House than he did in the playbook. So I think UCF, we do replace that running back stable with Miles Montgomery and Tavion Swint and a bunch of other players. So I think we'll be okay offensively. I think Scott Frost from the early returns, seems like he's got the team going in the right direction. Grinch is also in kind of the same situation that Scott Frost is, in that both of them are on kind of a comeback redemption type tour because Grinch went from Washington State, went to USC, kind of flamed out at USC, is now coming to UCF. Do I think this team could win this game at the end of the season? Yes, but at the beginning of the season, at a neutral site game, BYU's consistent. They've got good lines. They return a lot of their players from last year. So I expect BYU to edge the Knights.
Man, Roger, you're probably gonna hate me for this, but yeah, I'm just gonna say BYU wins it. I mean, at the end of the day, got two different transfer quarterbacks coming in here. Of course, there's the whole Retzlaff deal with BYU no longer being on the team, and if he was on the team, this would be a shoe-in easy pick for me in BYU.
Playing UCF, he could end up playing for UCF versus BYU. So
I
I'm just
mean,
saying,
if you guys want to mess with that, go
no,
for it. As an Oklahoma State
no,
fan,
no.
I gotta say we have dealt with the NCAA almost every single year since I've been alive for 30 plus years. So I'm good with not messing with the NCAA for any reason. Our tennis coach just got fired because of the NCAA sanctions. So shout out to NCAA there. Plan on driving to Overland Park, Kansas at some point this offseason to egg a couple houses, but that's beside the point. I gotta say, BYU to me, this is one where you have two different transfer quarterbacks coming in. You've got one guy coming in from Indiana. You've got the other guy coming in from the same state in Utah State. I I just like BYU just a little bit more than UCF. And I honestly, Roger, it's because of Alex Grinch. Oklahoma State fans are huge Alex Grinch fans because he helped us win both of our Bedlam games against them. So Oklahoma State fans are like, oh, you got Alex Grinch? We can't wait to play you because your defense is generally speaking rough and horrible. I mean, Alex Grinch took our best linebacker for Oklahoma State out of the state of Oklahoma and transferred him to USC, Mason Cobb, and was never heard from again, was getting run over all the time, was not a great talent developer at USC or at OU, and was with some of the OU programs where they have Heisman Trophy contending and now one Super Bowl winning quarterback, and they still were not winning national championships or getting close to it for OU. So Alex Grinch here, slam dunk. It's like, man, he's just not the guy. And also Scott Frost, I think it's going to be a little bit of an awakening here because hey, you're back, you're still in the Power Four. When you left UCF, hey, you guys were playing the American, and you guys were definitely playing better than everyone else in the American for sure. You were undefeated. It was a great story, but Scott Frost, how are you going to do when you adjust to playing the Power Four? And you know what? I think the Big 12 is going to be a little bit of an eye opener for him at some point. I'm not going to say it's a huge letdown, but I don't UCF fans feel incredibly well about Frost coming back, but I got to say I'm not huge on the Frost train at least right now. I'm kind of the wait and see here as I also wait and see if Gundy will stick around for after the season or not. And fingers crossed he does well.
Yeah, it'll be to echo your points. I mean, the Frost, the first time it took him, the second year, people forget this. His first year was actually a losing season. They went 6-6 in the regular season, got to the bowl game, lost to Arkansas State. Mackenzie Milton left to Hawaii, left the team. He got him to come back. Then we went undefeated the next year. Scott Frost's offense requires getting in the second level. It's a different set of offensive linemen and a different scheme. So it's going to take a hot minute for him to get that in place. Defensively, we do have talent on both sides of the ball. I don't know what I'm going to see out of Grinch, so we'll see. I'm not as down on him as you are, but it'll be interesting to see what happens, what this UCF team looks like at the beginning of the year versus the end of the year.
Alex Grinch, my second least favorite defensive coordinator in college football.
Is your first least favorite Jim Knowles?
No, I actually liked him a lot.
Because he left. Because he left is my point. So
we're gonna go way back to talk about bad defensive coordinator play at Ohio State. But Alex Grinch came over from Ohio State from Washington State with a ton of fanfare and fell flat on his face, and he has continued to trip and fall flat on his face. We'll see how he does for Frost down there in Florida. But we'll go BYU 2. UCF 0, and that means not one of you guys picked your own team for an upset. I'm a little disappointed in that, guys.
This was the number 15 versus 60. Now, if we were playing OSU, like OSU is playing Arizona State, right? BYU is pretty solid. Now, if we were playing OSU, I would say absolutely UCF all the way.
There it is.
And vice versa, I would also say, Oklahoma State, hands down, without a shadow of a doubt. Mike Gundy pulls out the 20-year veteran coaching deal and somehow wins it when he shouldn't, and somehow gets that FQ win. So
beautiful.
To be.
We'll have to do that podcast down the road. Let's move on to round number 2, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go. This is now we're getting into some real good matchups here. So far, you guys have agreed on everything except for one game. Let's find out if that trend continues in the second round. Number 1 seed Arizona State took down the Cowboys of Oklahoma State. Number 8 seed Kansas State defeated West Virginia Mountaineers. They play each other in round 2. And Roger, you are up first.
Okay, so for me, it's K-State all the way. Avery Johnson is the difference maker for this K-State team, as is their lines. The problem for Arizona State is Arizona State, although they had some success through the air, they had Cam Scattaboo that literally dragged defenders and everybody else for first downs. And I don't see them having a replacement for that. So until they can prove to me that their running game can be close, because it's what carried their offense, literally, I don't see them beating K-State this year.
Well, you know what? We're going to disagree. Who would have thought it? Arizona State here in my book is the team that last year they have an incredible story. No one sees them coming. And how are they doing this? And all of a sudden it's like, wait a second. They have Sam Levitt. They have Kenny Dillingham. They have a wide receiver returning who missed their college football playoff game due to suspension. And they also have 221 restarts returning from guys on the team, as opposed to, let's see, where is K-State? Oh, yeah, 157 here. So I just got to say, at this point, I'm trusting a little bit of the Kenny Dillingham magic here going on with Sam Levitt, Arizona State, and ASU. I think last year was their year where they could kind of make a little bit of noise, and they made way more noise than anyone thought they would. And this year, they get to kind of prove it a little bit more as well. At the end of the day, I'm just not a huge Avery Johnson fan, just because in the Big 12 with Chris Kleiman, you need a guy who's not as gunslinger mentality, and Avery Johnson takes a lot of chances. He just really does. And you know, K-State's defense is generally good enough to hold up and help them out. But last year, I thought K-State was going to win a conference. I thought they were going to be, competing, of course, with the other preseason top 3 favorites, and then Utah and Oklahoma State, which weren't there anymore. But instead, K-State just kind of fell by the wayside and pull it off and get it done. So I'm going to take Arizona State just because last year I just didn't see a lot of great things out of Avery Johnson when I thought that was his year to prove it. And instead, the guy that K-State kicked out the door and said, hey, thanks for coming, we'll see you later, amicably end it. Well, Howard ended up winning the national championship. So I don't know if K-State's just valuing their quarterbacks all over the world like they should, and I'm taking Arizona State here.
So I will say this: Avery Johnson, sophomore slump. It's his junior year. I think he finds his gear.
Well, this is his second year starting, so is this his sophomore year?
Nope, he's a junior. Call it
by class, but not by years of experience.
I know. I'm calling it this year. He figures it out.
He played.
He goes back to more.
He played quite a bit as a freshman. He got in and played quite a bit as a freshman. I'm actually really high on Avery Johnson having a great year this year. That being said, I also think that Arizona State has one of the best up-and-coming young coaches in college football, not just the Big 12. But did he catch lightning in a bottle? Can he do it again? Can he be consistent enough to keep Arizona State in the upper echelon of the Big 12 competing to get into college football playoff year in and year out? I don't know if that's the case yet. I'm going with K-State in this one, guys. I think the Wildcats pull off the upset here and get the win. And so Cocaine Willie, they're over there dancing to techno music right now as they watch this. I'm sure about it. But K-State moves on for me, guys. So we go 2-1. So far, Roger, I've agreed with you both times. You guys have left it up for me. Let's see if that's the case here. Number 5.
But you haven't. You agree with me against UCF.
Did I?
Yeah, you picked BYU over Rogers' team. He's pulling his head over how to resign.
Wait a second.
I picked BYU. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, my bad there. I couldn't believe you didn't pick your own team. Well,
no. I only picked twice. I picked Utah over Colorado, if I recall correctly.
I gotta come back with some more great points here to sway you, Eric.
Yeah, there we go. You get I'm counting on you, Cal. Here we go. Number 5 Baylor, they defeated Houston, and number 13 Utah upset number 4 Colorado and Coach Prime to set up the 5 versus 13 matchup. Cal, Baylor, Utah, go for it, brother.
I do not get the hype on Utah this year. Devin Dampierre, as I just talked about with Colorado matchup and picked Colorado in that one, I just don't get it, to be honest. Sawyer Robertson, Dave Aranda, they've got Baylor in a pretty darn great spot this year. They've got a bunch of returners on both sides of the football. And this is the year I think Dave Aranda's really on the hot seat. He's really got to figure it out this year because this is a bunch of expectations coming into this year. You got a returning quarterback. You've got a bunch of other great guys here all up and down. And their strength of schedule this year is real easy for Baylor comparatively to Utah. So I got to be honest. Baylor has no weeks where they don't have to go 2 road games in a row on the season. So if this was like at the end of the year, I'd easily pick Baylor. But I pick Baylor just straight up in this matchup overall. It hurts to say I hate the Baylor Bears, of course, an Oklahoma State fan, but I just think Dave Aranda's a good coach. I've seen Baylor win tough games, eke it out. 2021 Big 12 championship game for one of them, and really got to say I believe in the Baylor Bears this year as much as it pains me to say.
Yeah, this would be for me. This would be a defensive battle. And by that I mean, does Utah's defense have enough to slow down Baylor? They, as far as returning production is concerned, Utah comes back and brings back most of their defense, and they're expected or projected to be 17 defensively in the S&P this year as well. They also, surprisingly enough, and I don't know why, have a 20.3 S&P offensive rating versus Baylor, which has 34.6 and was ranked 21 before. So statistically, it says that Utah should win, but I agree. Quarterback is everything in college football. So I don't think there's enough there offensively for Utah to win that game. So I'm going to go with Utah as well, or with Baylor as well.
All right. The Bears move on over Utah, which sets up the bottom half of the schedule. We have the number 3 seed Iowa State Cyclones, who defeated Arizona, against the number 6 seeded TCU Horned Frogs, who defeated Cincinnati, Roger.
Well, I think these two teams are pretty close. So for me, this is a toss-up. If it's a toss-up, I'm going to go with Iowa State in this matchup versus TCU and Sonny Dykes. I didn't see enough out of Sonny last year progressing with the team. They were close at the beginning of the season. They did move forward. They do have a good quarterback. He's a gunslinger. He has a high completion percentage, and they're going to dink and dunk you to death. But I think Iowa State pulls this one out. I think I don't have enough faith in Sonny Dykes to say in a close game that I pick Sonny Dykes over Iowa State. So Iowa State it is for me.
Man, we keep agreeing here. Yeah, I would stay here. I mean, they've got, I'd say, the second or third best quarterback in the Big 12 versus TCU having, and I know I just talked up Josh Hoover a bunch here because of the whole recruiting to Tennessee just a minute ago. But yeah, Rocco Becht, I believe, I think he's the guy. I know they lose 2 wide receivers, just got drafted to the NFL, Iowa State, but TCU, honestly, I don't know much about their offensive guys overall because they don't make a ton of noise. So that TCU Stanford game I watched last year just really showed me, man, is Sonny Dykes that great of a coach? Did he catch lightning in a bottle when we went to the college football playoffs and ended up getting a national championship game a couple seasons ago? And I think at the end of the day, that's kind of what happened. That'll be Sonny Dykes' legacy with TCU. And Matt Campbell and Iowa State, Rocco Becht, they've got them rolling here. Unless they have basically just a horrible first quarter like they did in the Big 12 championship game last year, then they're going to win. I mean, I would say here in Matt Campbell, they know how to win games. Matt Campbell's been around a while now in the Big 12. I'm not saying Sonny Dykes is a brand new coach or anything close to that at all because he's been around for a long time as well too. But I'm going to take the little bit more experienced quarterback. The coach has been around the Big 12 at least a little bit longer here in this matchup as the tiebreaker because I do think it'd be close to the end of the day.
Cyclones move on.
Eric's getting really bored. He's like, I only got to break like 2 tiebreakers. What's going on right here? This isn't the SEC, guys.
Well, this is all the Big 12. Well, we could just wake up tomorrow and all of a sudden Jake Retzlaff is the starting quarterback for BYU again, back somehow, and we could all be just having to redo this whole thing again. Or, you know what, week 2 of the season, we could go in, wait, hang on a second, what happened? And it could all be brand new again too, because you never know. We can never
It's the
predict
Magic
everything.
8 Ball conference, right? You just kind of shake it around and wait to see what you're going to get.
I still don't know who our quarterback is going to be at the end of the year for Oklahoma State. No one has any idea. You look on ESPN.com, they're like, here's a list of all the Big 12 quarterbacks for 2025. They have 15 teams listed because Oklahoma State doesn't have a returning quarterback. So we'll see what happens at the end of the day. It's just a complete crapshoot. I think, Eric, I think this is my turn here with Tech. So in
Yeah.
BYU, yeah, I got to take Tech at the end of the day. I'm not going to take a guy who started 4 games in his entire career at BYU for a Utah State team over Texas Tech and Morton. I do not think Tech has the best team overall on the quarterback side of it, but the rest of the team, talent wise, should be able to contend with every other team in the Big 12 at least, if not just out talent them. And some of the days, that's what wins you games. And by far and away, in my book, even though BYU is an incredible place to play and they're really tough when you play them there, this is a neutral site. I'm taking Tech. I'm taking the Tortillas. Hats off to them because I'm not picking them that much further after this one here. But Tech and the Tortillas, they can really have fun with it and get excited at AT&T Stadium out there in Lubbock because there's nothing else going on there in Lubbock, Texas. And I know because there's a lot of Texas Tech fans hitting me up all day saying they've got Lamborghinis too, just like Miami does. But Texas Tech fans are really defensive over their university, is what I've learned lately here, Eric. I got to tell you, apparently they're a college town with 300,000 people. So, Texas Tech, props to you guys for staying loyal and true on social media, but I guess I'll pick you here. Kind of got to.
All right. For me, I'd love to choose. If it was about food, I would choose BYU because Cougar beat tortillas every day of the week. But this is college football, and because it's college football, unfortunately, with BYU's quarterback situation in flux, I think I take Texas Tech in this case as well.
Makes sense. All right. Texas Tech moves
All right.
on.
Informal poll: would you take the Cougar tail or would you take the tortilla?
Well, you're asking Eric, right?
I'm asking both of you.
Oh, well, Cougar Tail, by the way, Eric, I don't know if you know for sure. It is not the name of any person's, any specific female's body part. It's actually just a donut they serve in Baylor. So, excuse me, at Brigham Young University. So they'd be ashamed if I actually said that anyways. And they
I
heard that
got you.
because
I
they do
got you
not.
calling BYU Baylor now.
Oh, you do for sure. Yeah. No, you got me slipping up left and right here. So I got to say, yeah, I'm taking the sweet donut over just a bland tortilla, especially the ones out there in Tech. They're not good anyways.
Oh,
Woo. Um, you guys aren't blind. You can see me. Of course, I'm going for the donut. Come on, give me a break.
Hey, they both could have the same amount of calories as I've
That's
learned
true.
lately here.
That's true.
Tortillas can be like 200 calories, and also a donut could be 200 too. You never know what you're going to get these days. But yeah, I mean, well, we're talking about a sweet dessert over something that you always have with a meal that it needs something else to accompany it. Yeah, we're taking the dessert.
all right.
Oh.
You guys, give me a Cougar tail any day of the week over a tortilla.
All right, here we go. Final four. It is the number 8 seeded Kansas State Wildcats who defeated West Virginia and Arizona State to get to this point. You've got the number 5 seeded Baylor Bears who defeated the Houston Cougars and the Utah Utes to get to this point. Roger, I think you're up first here. It's K-State. It's Baylor. Who you picking?
I'm going to go with Clement's Cats on this one. K-State over Baylor. Dave Aranda, I do believe he's got a pretty solid squad, but I think K-State's a better squad. Again, I know we mentioned Avery Johnson a number of times. Clement's a great coach. He's got consistently good lines. They have a great program. Here's the big thing that makes them so good is that they've got an offensive line program unlike any other. They bring a lot of folks in and they constantly rotate them. And anytime you do that, you're going to have a line full of guys that are going to be fresh, that are going to be disciplined, and are going to be great O linemen. So I'm taking Clement's Cats over the Baylor Bears. What do you think, Cal?
I think this is really just the 2021 Big 12 championship that I just cannot get out of my head for whatever reason. Mike Gundy has 8 offensive plays within the 1-yard line and ends up not scoring 1 point. And Dave Aranda and Sawyer Robertson, the Baylor Bears Nightmares, just keep revolving, basically slideshow in my head at the end of the day where we missed winning the Big 12 championship in 2021 by half of a yard. So I got to say, I'm taking Baylor. Maybe it's just a trauma-related deal, but yeah, I'm going to take Baylor at the end of the day. I mean, I think that Sawyer Robertson, he started a couple more games, but he's lost more overall than Avery Johnson has. Man, at the end of the day, I'm going to just barely take Baylor. I think this one is truly a
Barely going to take the Bears? Is that what I just heard you say?
I got to take, yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, I think this is really just a coin flip of a game. I was played on a neutral side. This was the Big 12 championship game. I would still barely take Baylor, maybe because they're in Texas over K-State and have a little more home fans. But yeah, Waco, Texas, and the Baylor Bears. Every time I've gone to Baylor, we've lost, and so I really am just traumatized by the Baylor Bears, and that deep trauma just resides inside my soul. So I got to pick Baylor at the end of the day. They've just really pulled at my heartstrings every single time. And K-State, whenever we played K-State, we somehow beat them. I mean, in Oklahoma State. I mean, a couple of years ago, Rogers, you were saying, what world are we beating K-State and then we're losing to UCF and not even scoring a point in 2023? So, at K-State, that's a completely different teams. Not really any comparisons to draw from there, except for the fact that both schools still have the same head coaches they did in 2023. So, yeah, I'm going to take Dave Miranda and the Baylor Bears for Chris Kleiman and the Cocaine Willie Cats.
Hey, Space Game Voodoo. In fact, I have my Space Game hat on just for you. That being said, for me, it's offensive lineman versus that the defense. I pick Kleiman's O lineman over the defense for Baylor any day of the week. All right, Eric, it's up to you.
Transfer portal rankings are very similar between these two schools. K-State lost 10 more transfers out of the portal.
Are you trying to get him to agree with you? Is that what's happening right now?
I gotta get one win for me, right? At the end of the day, I don't know. One tiebreaker.
Don't do it.
Eric, let me know. Is this a flip a coin though? How certain are you?
Oh, this is check this out, guys. I was looking some stuff up. In 21 all-time matchups, would you like to guess which team has won 11 to the other team's 10?
I'd say K-State won 11 to Baylor's 10.
Yeah, I would say K-State as well.
You are correct. Would you like to guess which of the two teams is on a 2-game winning streak?
Got to be K-State at that point, right?
It is. However, in the last 4 matchups between Dave Aranda and Chris Kleiman, they are both 2-2 against each other. Over there in 2020 and 2021, Dave Aranda got the best of Chris Kleiman in a 32-31 game in 2020 and a 20-10 game in 2021. However, the last 2 years, listen to these scores when they've played each other. Kansas State beat Baylor 31-3 in Waco in 2022, and in 2023 in Manhattan, 59-25. That is a beat down, my friends. Man, I like what you're putting down, Cal, with Baylor. You almost got me convinced, but there is an argument, Roger, that you're making that I can't ignore, and it's the offensive line. In a game like this, when it's a coin flip game and I can't pick a home field advantage, and really the coaches are even in a situation like this, I tend to say who's got the better offensive line. And I'm gonna lean K-State in this one, guys. Sorry, Cal, I wanted to pick one there for you, brother, but just based on that little research I did, I'm going to go ahead and say K-State 2-1 on picks in this one and move them on to the championship game.
Well, this is looking like another 45-3 game for you this time around. I'm just saying.
Oh, no,
Roger, I cannot wait for you to talk about any other sport besides football.
Number 3, Iowa State. They got here by defeating Arizona and TCU. Number 7, Texas Tech. Had a little bit of a more difficult journey with victory over Kansas and BYU. Cal, you're up first. I don't know what a tasty treat there is in Ames, Iowa, but it's the tortillas versus, I don't know. What does Ames, Iowa have? You tell me.
A lot of beer. Yeah, a lot of beer, a lot of corn, a lot of beer.
Corn.
Ames, Iowa is I mean, probably the Stillwater, Oklahoma kind of comparison there. Both schools, I would say, are comparatively pretty close. But of course, this is an Oklahoma State matchup. This is Iowa State versus Texas Tech. We're talking about here a Texas Tech team that has beat Iowa State 66-10 less than a decade ago. Texas Tech had a 5-game win streak. They're currently on a 4-game win streak against Iowa State and Matt Campbell. You know what? At the end of the day, this Texas Tech team has got to be unprecedented as far as transfer portal goes. I mean, they've got an index score of 100. Perfect when it comes on on3.com. They have the best transfer portal class ever that anyone's ever seen, right? So a little bit of like, man, Matt Campbell, and, talked really a lot about Rocco Becht and stuff. And then I go, man, you know what? I was at the Big 12 championship game. I was covering it for thecollegehuddle.com. And you know what happened? Iowa State got beat down by Arizona State and the Sun Devils. Just, it wasn't even close at the end of the day. It was kind of, everyone's looking around like, so we heading home at halftime? What's going on here? Because Iowa State just lost all will to win, all will to play, and that's when they faced a really good and tough and talented Arizona State team. Now, I will say here, I know Texas Tech's not Arizona State, but you know what Texas Tech does have? A lot of those Jimmies and Joes that you would want on your team here. They have great returning starters. They have great returning depth here. I mean, funny enough, Iowa State is the biggest margin of victory at 52-0, but that was back in '67, way before I was born. But yeah, I got to say, I'm easily picking Tech here. I mean, this one to me is like, hey, if Texas Tech doesn't win this one, then what the heck is the transfer portal all about? I mean, is this really going to be a continuity of the program and Matt Campbell keeping everyone together and Rocco Becht coming back? But he loses 2 of his wide receivers they relied a lot upon last year to the NFL. One got drafted in the second round even. And all of a sudden, that's not returning production for Iowa State, Matt Campbell. So I'm going to pick Tech, the team that did add a ton of talent. I cannot overstate that enough. They added one of Rogers' guys, UCF defensive lineman. So, yeah, Texas Tech here, they're getting praise for having a good defense in the Big 12, believe it or not. So, I know it's probably news to a lot of the national media, and Roger and I both know here, Big 12 defense is not bad. Sometimes they're not great, but, sometimes they don't allow a point when they're playing in the rain against Oklahoma State for Roger and UCF. And sometimes they, allow 30-plus points to South Alabama like Oklahoma State did not too long ago as well, too. So, you just never know what you're going to get at the end of the day. But I got to say, Texas Tech is making noise for their defense, and they've got a returning starter quarterback. They've got a good head coach, and they have millions upon millions of dollars in the NIL portal, and they're a Big 12 team that's winning the NIL transfer portal. They're not an SEC team. They're not a 10 team. They're not the USC. They're not the UCLA, the Ohio State, the Michigan. I could just keep going for years about this. This transfer portal class for Texas Tech is unprecedented. They should win the conference this year off the transfer portal class alone, unless their quarterback fails them. And this one, I just don't think Rocco Becht is that much better than Morton for Tech. So I'm going to go ahead and pick Tech here. Kind of a slam dunk, honestly, but I think it'd probably be still pretty darn close at the end of the day, maybe a 2-touchdown or a touchdown win.
Wow. All right. So you were very adamant about that one. So for me, I
don't say
think
so.
that. No, well, let me say this. So what Iowa State does have is sprinkles. So I kind of looked up the food items, and there wasn't anything out there. But you can put sprinkles, red and gold sprinkle, or garnet and gold, whatever that color is that they call it, sprinkles on everything. So that's how you spice up your food at Iowa State. Iowa State fans, if you're out there, give us a shout, throw something in the comments. Let us know if we're missing something. But when I Googled it, and when I used Chat GPT, it was sprinkles all the way. So that being said, I do think that in this game, it is closer than it seems. Both teams are, I think they're both within a win. This could go either way depending on how that team is playing that day. I do think Texas Tech comes out with the win for the reason that Cal said. This is basically the SWAC before it got torn apart. And SMU got the death penalty. So now Texas Tech has become the SMU or the SMPOO, like we used to call them, the AC. But it's big spenders, but it's legal now. Tech, Baylor, all those guys, Texas, SMU, they were all fighting to drop dollars and make it rain. It's legal now. Texas Tech is that team for Big 12, and I do think this year Texas Tech would win this matchup, but in a close one. That if you simulated it 50 or 100 times, it would go 48 to 52, and it would be that close.
Okay. Texas Tech. Moving on.
On a side note here, is there a team that hates their own colors more than Iowa State does? Every single Iowa State uniform looks cool. I'm not getting onto them about that, but it's always like black or white, not yellow or red as their main colors. Like, it's just a fascination that Oklahoma State fans have, because whenever we play them, it's like, wait, who's the team wearing all black with like white pinstriping? Wait, aren't they red and yellow? So it's just a bizarre. You mentioned their colors about the sprinkles thing. I had to ask. It just seems an odd thing here overall.
They should lean into it and just make Cyclomania like Hawkomania. Just lean into it.
That would be awesome. But then they'd have to have yellow jerseys with red script if they did it that way.
Yeah.
They fear that yellow, and they never wear yellow. And they always do red if they can.
All right, guys, it's championship time. We have meandered our way through the tournament bracket here. Kansas State, with wins over West Virginia, Arizona State, and Baylor, have somehow made it to the championship game to take on the best team money can buy in Texas Tech over Kansas, BYU, and Iowa State. It is K-State, the 8th seed, Texas Tech, the 7th seed, for your Big 12 championship in 2025. Roger, you get the lead off here. Who you choosing?
Oh, who am I choosing to be losing? That's going to be a close one, honestly. I think both of these teams, believe it or not, K-State's actually upgraded their projections for defense. So they went from the 26th ranked defense to the 20th ranked defense. Offensively, though, they're projected to be worse. So by the SP. So in this particular case, they are still even offensively better with that projection going from 14 to 35.7. They're still better than what Texas Tech is projected to be. And I think that has everything to do with the quarterback situation that Cal mentioned earlier. So for me, with this being a close game, I'm going to take Kleeman's Cats. I know I just don't like NIL and what it's all become. And if you can just buy a roster and win, I'm sorry, it's anti-college football to me. So I'm gonna call it Kleeman's Cats. And but this is for real toss up. And the only reason I say it is because I do believe Johnson is a better quarterback than his opponent. So let me put that back out to you, Cal. Let me know what you think.
Well, Roger, here's what I tell you. It's not what you like, it's what you think is going to happen. And I don't like the transfer portal either. At the end of the day, I'm not a huge fan of it. As an Oklahoma State fan, Mike Gundy just went to press conferences where he says, yeah, I think we should maybe now try, because I guess this is going to be a thing. I mean, that's more or less what he said. He didn't know if it was going to stick around or not.
5 years later.
Yeah, he's like, I don't know if this is going to happen. You know, man, do we really put a lot of effort into this? And all of a sudden, Oklahoma State's at least top half the Big 12 in transfer portal class when they try. So who knows where they've been at if we had been at from the beginning. But that's beside the point. I'm not a big fan of the transfer portal. I think this really only helps out. I mean, unfortunately, Eric here, I'm not trying to pick on it, but this really helps out the Big Ten and the SEC guys overall. The transfer portal, the whole idea is you either have to have a T. Boone Pickens or I forget what the guy's name is for Texas Tech, but this is now what's happening. And until this is regulated more and more, check out my podcast tomorrow on the NIL, this is really just going to be a whole deal. I mean, I think that Texas Tech, Joey McGuire, they're going to win.
We've got a whole new administration in place. It's going to make sure everything's good. Now, I will say this. They have been declining NIL contracts as not real contracts. So maybe since the guy from Deloitte that was there, maybe he'll actually have some authority to follow through with this. But Congress is still looming in the wings too. They've got some legislature that's just hit that may be affecting this as well. So we don't know where this is going to shake out, but there are at least some guardrails in place, because we've talked about this too, and ad nauseum. Because quite frankly, even the big boys are getting tired of it. You hear the SEC head coaches, because all it's doing is driving up. When you've got a roster and you've got kids that are fresh, the latest thing has been 3-year guaranteed contracts. Look what happened at FSU with their quarterback situation. Part of the contract was their quarterback had to stay in unless he was injured. That was part of the agreement. So you look at the agreements for NIL and these contracts these kids are signing. I think nobody's going to be able to afford the rosters anymore if they let it keep going this way, whether the school pays for it or not. And it's legitimately not the way forward. And I think you're seeing enough voices in college football, even at the levels that it's supposed to, um, help. Um, I think they're even speaking out and how crazy it's gotten with what's happening. So we've got some guardrails in place. Does it need to get better? 100%. Collective bargaining. I don't know if you saw this. Danny White brought out a collective bargaining um, thought process for the players. I think that's actually the way it should go. And quite frankly, I think the teams should too. More of an NFL model because that's where we're at. That's the only way you're going to get some semblance of parity, whether it be the P4 or college football as a whole.
I mean, I'm not trying to make this all political. I think there's bigger fish to fry, right? At the end of the day here. I I don't think we're going to see Texas Tech lose their transport class this year for just immediate sake here of this argument for this podcast. And so I think Texas Tech is going to be able to hold on to their current transfer portal class. They've got the guys signed. They've got the guys on the roster. And I think talking about the NIL transfer portal and how the whole house settlement works out and all the money's distributed is definitely worth it for a good July podcast at some point. Maybe you and I need to do it on our own, each respective the Nighted Ones podcast and CJ Tour in a minute. But for right now and for this argument's sake, I'm taking Texas Tech. I just Joey McGuire, Texas Tech, transfer portal U, whatever you want to say. They've basically almost got the acronym there in their own name. I think they're going to win. I think they're going to win. I think they're going to beat K-State and Avery Johnson. I'm not high on Avery Johnson. I wasn't high on him in game 1 against West Virginia. I wasn't high on him in game 2 earlier on here, and I haven't been high on him since. I was not high on them against Arizona State and Kelly Dillingham. So at the end of the day here, I'm going to make it tough. I'm going to put it all in Eric's hands. He's got to decide who the Big 12 champion is. Because at the end of the day, I'm picking Tech. I'm picking Transfer U. They're playing within the rules. They're playing with the legal limits. If this was Oklahoma State, you know what would happen? We'd be dealt the hammer, dealt the death blow. There would be nothing happen, and the transfer portal would be denied tomorrow, and nothing would ever happen again. But instead, this is Texas Tech doing the transfer portals. They're allowed to do it because they don't speak out against NCAA in Overland Park, Kansas, where their headquarters are, and they let it all happen. So I'm picking Tech. They've got the billionaire fund manager behind him who sold his oil business for $5 billion plus, and they've got the pitcher for the College World Series that was in Oklahoma City not too long ago, so I know that much about it. And they were paying her like $1 million a year last year, and they're going to pay her $1 million again. Texas Tech is running the transfer portal in the Big 12, no matter what. Across the whole country is TBD at this point. But right now, that's what they're doing. They put all their eggs in that basket. Hats off to them. I wish T. Boone Pickens was still with us because in this era and in these days when T. Boone gave the largest money ever given to a school for their rehab of their facilities, period, and $275+ million. I think Oklahoma State would be doing pretty darn good today if he was still around in the transfer portal deal. But you know what? Texas Tech's taking advantage of the rules that are currently in place, and they're also operating on the edges where they can. And I think that's what matters at the end of the day. I think Morton and Texas Tech has the talent at the end of the day here, and that's going to be the differentiator overall in this, is that Avery Johnson, Chris Kleiman, they're really, really good. They beat Oklahoma State like a drum last year, just like every other team in the Big 12 did, though. So that's not much to say. And yeah, you know what? Morton's played in 33 games, and Avery Johnson's played in, where'd that go here at this point? Avery Johnson's played in 21. But you know what? Avery Johnson started 14. He's 10-4. And Morton here he started 24 and he's 15-9 overall. So, at the end of the day, it's not too big of a difference overall. And when it's not that big of a difference between the quarterbacks and their talent, at least coming into the season, then I'm going to go to the talent on the roster and the talent in the transfer portal to kind of make that tiebreaker for me. And that's why I'm going to pick Texas Tech. I don't want to think Texas Tech is good. The last time I went to Lubbock, Oklahoma State beat them like a drum, but it was 2012. It's been a decade plus. That 66-6 matchup is long gone in my book. So, yeah, you know what? I think Tech's currently got their hands on the wheel and they're driving straight forward and handling just fine.
So transfer Tech, missed opportunity. Yeah. What I was trying to get.
Transfer Tech University. I said they had the acronym when I started a rant here before I was interrupted by you about the whole house and political bias and out here in the ether and all type of stuff they were going on with. So I'm going to pick Tech, So it's kind of what happens.
Oh, all right.
See podcast.
Hey, everyone's got to follow up and listen to the Big 12 Huddle because this is just Roger and I just bantering back and forth at the end of the day.
Exactly.
This is what you come to the Big 12 Huddle for. So,
It's entertaining, folks.
well, we'll kick it back up here right before the season starts again here and hopefully get some guests on because Eric, this has been a lot of fun, but I'm now curious here who you're going to pick. I will tell you from Wikipedia.com, as I was referencing earlier, K-State, they're on a current win streak of 8 in a row. They're
they are.
overall.
They are.
I got none of those stats were trying to help me out, so I wasn't going to mention them before now because
I already looked them up.
All the bad stats never make it on my argument here, unless I kind of got to tuck my tail between my legs and just let you know, just in case.
This entire time,
let it happen.
I've only gotten to pick a couple times, and I've gone with Roger every time. And some might argue, why is it time to change now? And last year, my prediction was K-State was going to win the Big 12, and they were going to go to the college football playoff. And they let me down. That's why I'm taking Texas Tech to win this game. The whole time I was with you, Roger, till the end. Cal, I come swooping in to give you the win. We're going to go.
Horns down. Sorry, horns down to everyone. But
we're going to go Texas Tech 2.
Sorry. I'm just excited. Rock on. But, horns down everyone.
Texas Tech 2, K-State 1. There we go. Guys, we just determined Texas Tech is going to win the Big 12 in our tournament simulation. Let me get your thoughts here in closing. I thank you first off, Cal. Thank you, Roger, for doing this exercise, helping me determine where I need to lay some money down this summer before we go into college football season.
Don't do it on the Big 12 because none of this will happen. Like none of it. Like it'll be Arizona State, who was 3-8 the year before, that comes back and wins the Big 12 title. So I'm going to say this: if any of you folks are wanting to contact your bookies, don't lay any money on the Big 12 games. Just don't do it.
Don't do it because last year Arizona State was preseason 13th ranked. Oklahoma State scheduled them for their homecoming game because that'll be slam dunk win, and then we got blown out 56-14. I mean, an Oklahoma State team that made the Big 12 championship game the next year comes back, plays Arizona State for their homecoming game, and they lose 56-14. Anything can happen in the Big 12 week to week.
The top 8 going into the season last year were the bottom 8 at the end of the season.
Yeah,
and this season, the bottom 8 were the top 8 going into last season. So, Eric, I didn't mean to steal your thunder on that, but it's like, just guys, any other league, but not the Big 12. I'm begging.
Hey, I had one left bullet chambered, and all I had to say is K-State's preseason going to win the Big 12, so you can't pick them to win it, right? That's all I got to say.
Yeah, I made that mistake last year. So, but very fun. Let me get your final thoughts, guys. Texas Tech and this exercise in general. Cal, I'll start with you. Roger, you can follow up. What did you think about this exercise? What did you learn from it? And what do you think about Texas Tech winning it overall? Do you think that's who's going to do it? Or do you think before we did this exercise, you had someone else, you were leaning towards someone else?
So I had gone through the whole deal here. I had built out my bracket and kind of preparation for this and tried to do some research. And to be honest, I had Baylor win the whole deal beforehand, but they were making it out of the top half of the bracket. And they were, of course, beating out K-State there. So I thought Baylor was going to win the whole thing just because Dave Aranda, I just really respect him as a head coach, and I think he's going to prove it season. Whereas Joey McGuire doesn't win it for Texas Tech. I don't necessarily think for whatever reason it'll be on him. I just think it'll be on the talent didn't pull through. And in this exercise here, I really love it because it does put everyone in a neutral site. There's a lot of Big 12 schools that I cannot wait to go see a game at that is a recent additions to the Big 12. One's Provo, Utah. Oklahoma State lost there by 3. It seemed like an insane environment. The other one's a space game that I want to forget 2 years ago in 2023. But this year, hey, maybe I'll make it down to see you in the Orlando area, Roger, and come hang out with the United Ones for a podcast because there's just so many different stadiums in the Big 12 that are insanely cool to go to. Baylor Stadium is not huge, but that means they pack it in. All the fans rush the field. This is a really good exercise because you get to talk through all the things in a neutral site, and you don't put that whole entire basically, hey, who's got the home field advantage in the back of your mind the entire time is the tiebreaker. Instead, you got to go the tiebreaker some other way. And that for me went the transfer portal route, and that's kind of why Texas Tech won, in my opinion, is because it just all tiebreaker after tiebreaker. I guess I'll choose talent in the transfer portal, and that was Tech.
Yeah, the big thing that this doesn't take account for, right, is injuries, depth, and we're basing this on the top talent that's been out there, so you have to take it with a grain of salt, and especially matchups, right? Some match up better than others, especially when it comes to strengths and scheme and things like that. So this was not a deep dive, right? This was something that we looked at. It was a lot of fun. As far as transfer tech or tortilla tech, as I used to call them, I guess I think I'm going to adopt, and I'm copywriting transfer tech now because I have not seen that anywhere. And
You
I
need to
came up,
jump on that.
yeah. So transfer tech. So I do think that they should be competitive, competing for the championship. K State should be. I think Arizona State. I'm a little higher on them than I was coming into this exercise, having looked at their roster, and I do agree with Cal when it comes to um, how much returning talent they have in their wide receiving core. I think Scadaboo was a special player, and he literally willed them to a lot of wins. So it'll be interesting to see how they do. Arizona State may surprise me, and honestly, I gained a little bit more respect for them coming into the season. But yeah, I don't have anybody here that would tell me that K State wouldn't win. I think BYU may be better than we think. Jake, if you look at his numbers, he was not in the top half of the conference as a quarterback. Ratzliff wasn't. So that team is still built and is returning a lot of their players. I think they may be a championship caliber team this year. So at the end, is it Texas Tech? It could be. Is it BYU? It could be. Is it K State? It could be. Um, but if you're going on the safe bet, I still like Kansas State because Texas Tech, my experience with transfers, remember UCF having had fluid rosters ever since NIL and moving up to the power conferences, et cetera, and the Gus bus, crashing and burning on the side of the road. You're welcome, Florida State. I haven't seen anything that tells me that just because you bring the transfers in, you can necessarily out talent a good team. And there's a lot of good, solid coaching and a lot of good, solid teams. And with K State having the line that they do consistently year over year, over year, over year, over year, they're going to be a contender. And I still think K State is probably going to win the Big 12. I don't believe Texas Tech will. I think it may be a BYU K State matchup for the Big 12 championship with Arizona State maybe there as well. I don't expect anything out of Colorado. So I'm sorry, Colorado fans. Until Coach Prime can prove to me that he doesn't have two top tier level talent guys that are making things happen, like you said, Cal, with the pocket breaking down and scrambling around and just tossing up the ball and having Travis Hunter out athlete other people. Until that happens, I don't see enough out of Coach Prime to tell me that he's going to be successful this year either. So I think this is going to be a down year for Colorado. The big things to watch for me is West Virginia to see how they do with Rich Rod. It's going to be fun to watch Frost back at UCF, although I think it'll take him a little bit. But there's another head coach, I can't remember who it was, that came back to their team. But either way, I think at the end of the day, Big 12 is going to be fun. I think those are the teams at the top. I think that I've earned some respect for Arizona State as I've dug into them a little bit deeper. But I think K State and BYU may be playing in the championship this year with K State coming out on top.
Very well. Cal, tell everybody once again where they can find the CGA tour.
Everywhere you listen to podcasts, but especially YouTube. I try to build the following a little bit more up there, especially with a little bit more of the graphics and stuff like that. I'm doing the back end adding in. Had a bunch of former players on the podcast here over the summer as well. So a bunch of former player interviews from guys who have dealt with FBI scandals and been on NBA teams, etc. So tune in, hang out, watch the CJ Tour, and don't pay attention to the Big 12 media poll because it doesn't exist anymore because no one knows what they're talking about.
Yeah, it's Tulsa World Media Poll now. They're the ones who brought
the Big 12 media poll. That's the only thing I was going to Roger's point. Big 12 football preseason media poll last year, Arizona State was ranked 16th, and they ended the whole thing. So Big 12 this year said, we're not doing a preseason media poll. Just screw it. Not happening. So,
Roger, tell everybody where they can find the United Ones.
Yeah, the United Ones, you can find us like Cal. You can find us anywhere that you listen to podcasts, Apple, everywhere. You can also find us on YouTube. We do shorts, we do live shows, we do long form shows as well. So check us out there. There's 17,000 of you watching for some odd reason. Come join us. Make sure you check Cal and I out on the Big 12 Huddle as we forage into our next season. And proud to be part of the College Huddle. So obviously you can find us there as well. Thank you so much, everyone, and hope you had a little fun.
Indeed. Head on over to thecollegehuddle.com where you can find all of 85, guys. We're up to 85.
Oh, my God. I got to update my show notes. I keep saying 70 plus on every single show. Now I got to say 85 plus.
Yeah, we're up to 85 podcasts from coast to coast, and we are growing. That number is actually going to grow again here very soon, hopefully. Fingers crossed. And be sure to thumbs up. Hit this like button on this video. We appreciate that so much. If you've made it through this far and you're not subscribed to the channel already, subscribe. Make sure you ring the bell. Get notified every time we drop new content. And let us know what you think about what we think down in the comment section below. Just like the SEC fans did when on that video, they disagreed completely with the outcome.
I'm gonna get hammered in the comments with all of the different tortilla techs and transfer techs and all those different things. I'm going to get hammered. I'm ready for it.
I got to get the Texas Tech guys on now. I got to. This is too good. This is too good. This has been a lot of fun, everybody. We now have the SEC. We've now done the Big 12. We're going to try to get as many of these conferences taken care of before the season starts with this simulation. I love doing it. It helps me learn about so many more teams before the season started. Cal, Roger, thank you so much for what you guys did. Until next time, everybody, we will be back at you with another great video here on the College Huddle. Go check out their channels, everybody. Till next time, take care, everybody.
Go Pokes!